Halito, Halito, Halito. What's happening, beloveds? Osio. What's happening, Wengapo? What's going on with you? Press one in the chat if y'all can hear me. If you can hear me. What's up, you Wetsy? How y'all beautiful ones doing? Press the one in the chat if y'all can hear me clearly. I want to make sure the sound is good. Okay, there we go. So I see so many people getting so upset, regarding a lot of the Indians not jacking, this ADOS situation. And I know it seems like, it's gaining some momentum and a little bit of steam and all that. Well, but it's like y'all dealing with way too many emotions and shit like that. And I'm not saying that every plight is not serious, but what I am saying is don't get the fucking door shut in your face because niggas is lazy. Okay? Out of your third grade grandparents, let's say I'll be 45 in a couple of days. So someone born in my year or around my time had grandparents that lived into the, into the 90s. They were born in the early 1900s. Okay. To go back 3 generations, you have 8 great grandparents, 16 second great grandparents, 32 third great grandparents. So these ADOS people, I got a question, and don't get mad. I really don't give a fuck if you do, because let's fight if you want to. If that's gonna make you feel better, if you think like that's gonna get you a check, then But I have a question. So y'all basically saying that all 32 of your third great grandparents, because that would put y'all back into, actually, maybe that's not good enough, because that would put you kind of in the 1880s, 1870s. Your fourth great grandparents. So 32 times 2 is 64. So you're saying fourth great grandparents will put you somewhere in the 1850s, just around that time where slavery was still an institution in the South. Okay. Now it would have to be from the South or the Southwest, because you can't say that you are ADOS from Rhode Island. Okay. Because their slavery was abolished in what, the 1600s? You're not factoring in Canada, where their slavery was abolished a lot earlier, significantly earlier than in the South. Okay. Let's see. New York, you would have had to have been enslaved prior to 1817. Any of the Spanish colonies, any of the French colonies. So that window is very, very, very small. So depending on what the situation, now there's going to be some criterions that you absolutely have to make sure that you don't run into a brick wall, which would be the fucking law that says that this institution was legal in what particular area that you're saying your ancestors were from. Okay, so here's my thing. You're saying all 64 of your direct grandparents, fourth great grandparents on both sides, mom and dad's sides, were all fucking slaves. Now, here's the fucking thing that I really want to know. Are you saying that they're all African slaves or all Indian slaves? Because I heard the dude Antonio Moore out his own mouth say African slaves, descendants of them that are here in America. I didn't hear anybody talking about American Indian slavery. So I want to know, how could there be millions of people that say that they are a part of this that have no direct relation to each other? Because if you have 10,000 people from ADOS, they would have to have some sort of common relatives, right? Some sort of common ancestors. I have found at least 10 different people, strangers, used to be strangers online, that we have direct kinship through specific Indian tribes. Okay, direct kinship. This is the thing about tangible bloodline history. You can go in the phone book and you can call up a stranger and let them know what direct ancestor that you have in common, and they're going to know you're telling the truth. It has nothing to do with DNA. It is by direct, tangible relations to the people of America. Thank you so much, A. Blackman. So I'm trying to figure out if you're really saying that all 64 of your people. Now, this would not only would they, you're not making it clear if they were Indian slaves, if they were African slaves, because the African slave thing is going to be really, really hard for you, considering they called people that look like Donald Trump and Charlize Theron Africans up until 1815. This is why y'all niggas gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. You gotta be careful. Because what y'all gonna do is end up giving them pilgrims a motherfucking new check. That's what you're gonna end up doing. Because they can properly identify themselves as Africans. They can properly identify themselves and lawfully identify themselves as African. Literally. Not Congo, not this, not that. They can literally classify themselves as African. I'm having a hard time with this. And then y'all niggas get so fucking mad. And I call y'all motherfuckers the towel throwers. Y'all niggas got off the fucking checkout for granny train and just joined a wave that looked like it's going to be gaining some momentum and popularity. And you're going to get a check. And you leaving it up to the fucking Yvette Carnell and motherfucking Anthony Moore to tell you about your grandma. Nigga, you a grandma. You letting these skin folk kill your grandma too. Oh, because they can't be representing all of them. You mean to tell me all 32 of your fourth generation grandmothers and grandmothers were slaves? Prove that. Show me that shit. I'll back the fuck up. If you can show me that, I'll back up. It just sound crazy. So, I had a little hiatus and shit. Had some family situations going on. And I tell y'all niggas, I'm an Indian in real life. This shit right here, don't none of this shit come before my folks. So when they have to have medical procedures, one of my sisters was going through something. My mother had to have a procedure. I don't play around with this shit. So when they called me like, what happened? I haven't seen you on social media. Nigga, I'm being an Indian in real motherfucking life. I'm fine. Thanks for checking in on me. I appreciate it. The ones that got my phone number, we kick it all the time. You know what time it is. But for everybody else, I got shit that I'm doing, right? Got shit that I'm doing for real, for real. Y'all niggas changing y'all healthcare, every year, according to the Affordable Healthcare Act. Do y'all shit say Indian or do y'all put ADOS on y'all application? How y'all handling this shit? When y'all purchasing your health insurance, do your doctors know that you're American Indian? The Social Security office, any institutions such as school, higher learning, or any of those institutions, are you telling them who you are, or are you letting them tell you to show you that you are who you say you are? How's that shit really working? I'm not understanding a lot of things. But in the interim, just so everybody fucking knows, Phoenix is good. I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy that these situations worked out well. Just to update y'all on the situation with the child protective. And this is real shit. This is how real I keep it with y'all. I use myself as an example. So I get really pissed off when you motherfuckers call me or you inbox me and you constantly asking me the same fucking thing. I tell y'all about myself, right? So it don't seem like this. I'm fighting the same fucking battles you are. It's just a different way that I'm handling it. Okay. So I couldn't help my mentally ill cousin. Now he's going on a list for 28 years as a child abuser. And all he was homeless and has mental illness. He's not harmless. He's not harmful to anybody. The elevator don't go all the way to the top. Somebody drugged him back in the 90s and the elevator don't go all the way to the top. So holding a job, he's very afraid of white people. The same cops that killed Eric Garner broke his arm, damn near separated his arm from his body. So yeah, he's got a lot of trauma. It's got a lot of trauma. Baby mother batshit crazy. CPS got a whole APB out on her womb. He had no idea that this girl who's fucking one flew over the cuckoo's nest, anytime she has a baby in the whole United States, they're coming to CPS, BCW, ACS, whatever agency, they're coming to take the baby. She already has 2 other children. This is his first baby. He hasn't even been irresponsible in his mental illness, but I can't even get him the help that he needs if he's not willing to help me help him. All I needed was for him to sign the damn power of attorney. I'm very busy. I set aside time and shit like that to make sure that I'm available, right? Because all they see is this so-called man and he ain't got it all and they think that they can railroad him, but that's not the case. He may got some mental illness going on, but he's sick and he needs some help. And this is the trauma that is tangible results that I can absolutely prove that they did to my cousin. They didn't protect him from them white police officers. They didn't protect him. They abused him. And this is the trauma in addition to what some other creep motherfucker did when they decided to lace his blunt back in the fucking 90s. So now he's going on the list for 28 years for child abuse, and he's never harmed a child at all. He's welcome at every family reunion, nigga. He just can't live with people. He scares some of the elders and stuff like that with his outbursts and everything. And I move around too much. I used to always have him with me by my side. You know what I'm saying? He's fun to be around. He all right. I know how to redirect him when he start talking that Nawapi and shit, because that's the only shit he remember. I show him the picture of my grandmother. I show him the picture. I'll bring him back. Right? So niggas take this mental illness shit real lightly. But as it stands right now, he too caught up in homegirls for JJ that he has now exceeded the deadline, and he's going on a list as a child abuser for just being mentally ill and homeless. This all started from the hospital. They didn't come in anywhere and take the children. This started in a hospital. The baby mother, she ain't got it all. She's sick too. And instead of helping them, I'm watching these agencies cash out on these babies. So because she has the other two, has other children in foster care, we can't get the baby because they don't like splitting up the children. They don't like splitting up the siblings. So that's how that shit's going. But I'm doing shit in real life. These is the battles that I'm fighting in real life. Right? So when y'all call me with the, yeah, this and that, you know, and my son's in jail and I got the time and I'm like, what's up? What you want to do? Let's go get him. And you tell me no, you got to understand how that shit make me feel. Don't call me and ruin my motherfucking day with some bad news and you ain't ready to take no fucking action. I'll be ready to fight y'all, and I'm dead serious with that shit. You could waste my food, and I really don't like that. You could waste my money. I hate that too. But if you waste my fucking time, I'm going to give you the fucking business, because time could never be money, because you can never spend another hour, enough money to get one more hour of life, one more second of life. You are not in charge of that. Ain't no money going to be able to dictate how much motherfucking time you got. So don't tell me time is money, because there is shit that's so much more valuable that I can think of that I would spend my time with people who I can no longer spend it with. That's far more valuable than any dollar amount. So when you waste my motherfucking time, I got a problem with that. Rightfully so. You're a fucking thief to me. You're a fucking thief. And to me, that's a fucking oppressor. I don't care how you look at it. You think I just think these white people's oppressive? Nah, some of my fucking folks is oppressors too. They're energy vampires. That's oppressive. That shit brings stress on the motherfucking brain. Anything that shortens up my life, you're a fucking oppressor. Period. And what's good for you is good for me. So that means I don't get to do that to you, because I don't enjoy it. You treat people how you want to be treated. Motherfucker, you say 9 o'clock, be there at 9 o'clock. Sometimes it ain't always like that, but you know at 8 o'clock if you're not going to be ready at 9. Call that motherfucker and let him know you're running behind. Be courteous throughout the whole situation and all your motherfucking dealings. These niggas is always still trying to find a way to cut a fucking corner, and that's just been the way that it's been going. Just, you know, thinking that you're doing what you got to do just to survive, but you really making it harder. You'll make it working harder and not smarter. And then you're not even being righteous in your fucking dealings. You always want to beat somebody. Always want to get a little extra. Don't pull that shit with me. Pull that shit with me. I don't care what it is. Not going to no fucking weed man and telling him I'm short $3 for a fucking quarter. Like, that nigga don't need to hear that. I wouldn't want to hear it. Be fair in your motherfucking dealings. You don't go in the Gucci store and negotiate a motherfucking price you pay for any of those items. Don't fucking come around me looking for no plug, no hookup. Why should I fucking hook you up? Save your own ass for your own ass whipping. That's what grandma used to say. So a lot of resources I got to keep to myself. A lot of resources I have to make sure that my family is aware first. That's my priority. That's my fucking tribe, man. These niggas running around here calling themselves chief. Having a hard time with that shit. Nope. I can't see y'all in the chat. Pardon me for that. You know, I love to interact with y'all, but I hope everything's cool in there. You know, but these ADOS, yo, brothers and sisters, show me what the fuck y'all dealing with. You telling me that all your grandmas were slaves? All of them? All your grandparents were slaves? From where? Did they get kidnapped in the north and taken down south like Solomon Northup? I was just in Saratoga too. I should have took some pictures in the area where he's from. I could have even went downtown and took pictures of where they kidnapped the nigga from. Told him they was taking him to DC. Our people was always into music, always talented, and they were free people. I found them on the census prior to him being kidnapped and stuff like that. And he was taken down to Louisiana. So, you know, you had the kidnapping club in New York, right? New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. Richard Riker, who Rikers Island is named after, they were kidnapping free people and sending them down south into slavery, calling them some other name and all types of crazy shit. And they named this prison, who's traumatized millions and millions of American Indians, traumatized millions and millions of American Indians, Rikers Island, after him. They have a play, I don't know, I think it's off Broadway, but they have a play right now, excuse me, called The White Man's Survival to Rikers Island. Look it up. The White Man's Survival to Rikers Island. So some pilgrim done wrote him a manual telling other pilgrims how to survive on Rikers Island in these same conditions that these ADOS niggas is saying that they was in 300-400 years ago. I want to know how they know that. Because you know what? At the end of the day, let's just keep it this real. It wasn't the fact. When you listen to the old slave narratives, you hear them people say, hey, they turned us loose. After slave freedom came, they turned us loose like cattle. They didn't know nothing else. They didn't know how to do all of these things because of the conditions that they was in. And some of them actually signed up for it. They didn't have no welfare back then. I don't know how I'm going to feed these kids, but if I got to go work 2 years for Mr. Johnson, bitches do something strange for change right now. What the fuck you think they was going to be able to do back then? For the bare minimum of resources. Y'all think that all of this shit is new. It's just got a different word for it, a different spin for it. A slave is an employee. So unless niggas own their own business, unless you own your own business now, you're a motherfucking slave, whether you like it or not. What are you suing for? Being able to have the right to work? Look at the Confederate States, the right to work states. You think they wanted to just embrace being a slave? No, they wanted to have some stability because all these foreigners is coming over here building up these businesses, and I'm unable to sell my pecans on the side of the road now because Mr. Clark's got a general store. How am I going to get in this lane so I can feed and provide for my family? You get up and go punch a clock right now. You're a fucking slave. You're not in control of it. You wait 2 weeks to get paid after you give up and labored 80 hours. You giving them debt. They're in debt to you for 2 weeks until you get your first paycheck. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You get an honest day's pay for an honest day's work. Your ass got to wait a whole month. If you come in at the end of the pay period, you got to wait a whole month to get paid for a job that's every 2 weeks. Nigga, you's a slave. You working for motherfucking free. Money you already earned. Meanwhile, they're flipping. They're able to write checks and pay off all their bills and flip your hard-earned labor. What was produced? You're a fucking slave. Don't you fucking tell me. You're a slave right now. And some people were quite comfortable. Nothing wrong with having a job, but you should always think about getting back to being your own motherfucking boss. Particularly anyone that thinks that they may descend from fucking slaves. You would want to be your own boss. You would want to spend 2, 3, 5, 10 years investing in yourself, wouldn't you rather, than to be working 40 years for some motherfucker that don't even know you? All they know is your algorithms and how you punch the clock and your fucking productivity. They don't care if your lights are out. They don't care if your children are hungry. They care if you came in at 8:01 and your shift started at 8 o'clock though. How much money you gonna make them? That's what they care about. Not how much money you gonna make, not how much they gonna help you prosper. I'm trying to understand where y'all going with this shit. What is a slave? Look up the legal definition for something that was a legal institution. Now, in the Constitution, it tells you unless it's servitude or conviction of a felony, that is unlawful, right? Unlawful, illegal, legal, lawful. They're not the same things. They're not the same things. So let me ask you something. What particular town, county, village were your folks living in that you descend from these slaves that slavery was not legal? Do you have the court transcripts that prove that they were convicted of a felony? Do you have any articles or anything that would forensically indicate or factually indicate that they were kidnapped and something else happened and this is the reason why they were enslaved? Did they sign a contract because they couldn't afford to get the seeds for this year's crops and they needed a couple of mules and it ended up turning into something they never really signed up for, but they put their signature on nonetheless? Yeah. You know, kind of like if you plead guilty to something, even if you didn't do it, you pleaded guilty. You can't take it back. Now, if you say you ain't do it and you blow trial and they give you 30 years, we can track it back and find out. Then you can get some sort of restitution, reparations, right? Because you have been wronged. But you maintained your stance. Did your people maintain that they were free people? Did they demand, is there any court transcripts that said that they had the right to be free because of who they were? What time period was this? Was this when they was mixing all the Indians in with the Berbers that they were capturing from those corsairs of the wars that lasted almost 200 years? I'm trying to understand, why would you deviate from the blatant misclassification, the incompetent people they had doing the census, to settle for we were slaves and we want to check now? 1-800 and this fucking 1-800 reparations just pops up. What makes these niggas, Yvette Carnell and Anthony Moore, any more special than Claude Anderson or Ta-Nehisi Coates or any of these people that have already tried? Have you seen it? Have you seen it? Ta-Nehisi Coates, I've been looking for it. I haven't seen it in a couple of years, but when I tell you, they got maybe 2, 3, 4 American names on this petition, and every other name is some African name you can't even pronounce, and you can't tie them motherfuckers to America. Boop, get out of here. Got kicked to the fucking curb, quick. Kicked to the curb. It's not tangible. They told you a fucking story, and African slaves, the 1619 slaves that came, 20-odd Negroes. Did you see those blonde-haired, blue-eyed people they was calling Negro? Everybody from Morocco, Algeria, and all those places were also called Negro. It was called Negro land, where the people of the Afri tribe descended from, which includes the Italians that had, you know, the Roman protectorate, all the way down, extending into where they recently placed Ethiopia. Slaves from where? ADOS, slaves from where? It sounds like attention deficit of something that can't be fucking proven. That's what that should stand for. Gotta stand for that. That shit don't make no sense. I'm having a hard time with this shit. When the tangible shit is the fact that they absolutely played games with these census. You don't know who they hired, nigga. You get reparations for them hiring somebody incompetent that went against you and your folks in the census. You can do that. That's a tangible thing. That proves their negligence. It's not hard. The 4 elements to a tort, you're going to have a hard time proving that. You're going to have a hard time. There has not been no plan. And the sad thing is that there are so many people that are still trying to outshine the American Indian. Can't let you get away with that, nigga. Y'all like grandma killers too. Y'all like grandma killers too. And I'm going to take it easy only for the simple fact that a lot of y'all You know, y'all good people, and I know y'all mean well, but it's like y'all giving up and y'all accepting this shit. Y'all accepting that. You're not focusing on Indian slavery. You are capturing people's attention by those same familiar blanket stories that they've already heard of and thought they was going to have to abandon those because African Americans ain't African. And you have all of these people that are talking about us being American Indians and yada, yada, yada. And you still can't grasp it because your dumb ass is looking to find some magical paper that says grandma was Cherokee. She was telling the truth. So in your heart, you really still don't believe your fucking folks. And to me, that's a trader's move. It's like a trader. You're going for what is going to be easier for you. And instead of sitting there digging in the motherfucking crates, it's kind of hard to jack that. And you stop me if I'm fucking wrong. And stop me if I'm wrong. I don't really think I am. I've been sitting in the background. I've still been watching and shit like that, you know. But you're kind of giving up really quickly. If that's the only area you're going to go in and you think you're going to get a check, I am just bowling over to know exactly what shit y'all got that none of the others did. What's different? What's different? And if you can find that difference, that variable that's going to take you over the top, then by all means, go for it. Go for it. But in the interim, make sure that you remind people. Make sure that you remind these motherfuckers whose house this is. This is the American Indians' house. Anyway, you slice it. So I see a lot of these niggas going still, you know, sucking them Hebrew phalluses. And, you know, the more it's kind of been quiet on my end. They don't really say too much to me. And this is probably just as well. Because I got some fucking shit from Spain that they never talk about. So I just, you know, stockpile this shit for when the time comes so I can see how real people are keeping it. You know what I'm saying? Like they still can't, they can only show me something, that fucking treaty, but they don't talk about so much more that involves them and would help their plight. So again, it's hard for me to take people seriously when they have learned how to be better researchers. They have access to all of this information, and yet they still come up with some rabbit out the hat bullshit. Nothing tangible, nothing that they could take to their oppressor on a micro level right now in their own individual households that's going to impact and put themselves in a position where they are able to thrive because they are no longer in fear or oppressed or bullied or having these situations that weigh heavy on the mind and take away years of your life with the stress and all of that. So I'm really having a hard time with this. And if you know, and then I see some comments where people are like, well, anybody going against ADOS is going against me and blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm going to say. Fuck them and feed them Franks. If that's how you feel, after you done been around and saw all this information that we put out, after you have, been able to acquire a different way to study your own ancestors, we've given you all of these formulas. We've extended all of this time and put all of this work into, you know, what it is that we have right now, only for people, these spinoffs, to go half cock and captivate people and take their mind off the main motherfucking prize. Better investigate these people. The first 10 minutes of the video, this nigga sitting there talking about all these white institutions that he learned from and all of that. The first 10 minutes of my shit, I'm talking about grandma, nigga. It's never going to change. It's never been consistent. You ain't going to act like you're going to give no ADOS, no credit with searching on the grandma. That's been my consistent thing, and this is how I win every debate. I stick to the genealogy. I don't get into all that fantasy, that romance with all that other stuff. I stay with grandma, and can't nobody take that from me. Very consistent, almost 5 years now. Ain't none of them was in that level. Leave that shit alone and stop fronting. This the home of the grandma killers. You understand what I'm saying? The no grandma killers allowed right now. Let's get that shit understood. So, you know, but again, at the end of the day, they're going to have to show me something. It's going to be, you know, it has to be something tangible because I'm not seeing it. And just saying that y'all was slaves is not going to be enough. You're going to have to come with more. And that's not says Phoenix. That says the people that you think you're going to sit in front of that you're expecting to write a check. You better have some solid legal facts going on Some undisputed, undeniable. You can't go with one grandma that was enslaved versus 1,000 that was free and fighting to not be enslaved. They were fighting so they can sell their pecans, so they can sell their tomatoes on the side of the road, right? Without getting taxed to the point where they couldn't even buy seeds to re-up. Fighting for enterprise, the right to be able to organize, right? What they now call RICO. See, every time our people got together, they wanted to call it racketeering. When we did the collective economics and we kept our money in the hood, they made a name up for it. But this is what they do to you, because part of that racketeering and that those organizations, corrupt organizations, are the ones that are against you now. But you allow them to RICO you when it only takes two of them, the officer that arrests you and the other one that books you, and the other person that calls your name out in the courtroom and puts the cuffs around you when you get in front of the judge. That's a conspiracy. They kidnapped you. Why aren't you RICOing them? Corrupt organizations. You could get a meal ticket just to being discriminated on. These people are so used to discriminating against you that you're not even using that to fight your way out of poverty. You won't sit there and wait for Yvette Carnell and Anthony Moore to get y'all a check. That's what y'all, this that pass the buck mentality. That's the black people thing. The Indian don't never surrender. The black people, they always expect somebody else to do something for them. They leave it up to them because it's just too much trouble to bother with studying how to not be oppressed. So I'm going to put my faith in this here white man over here so he can make sure that I'm protected from being oppressed. Yeah, okay. How's that working out for you? How's it been going? I'm going to put it in this brother's hands that work right next to the white people that oppress me, so he could be told not to help me really, and then turn back around and tell the black people that he's doing the best he can. His hands is tied, right? It's a shuffle. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. You got to straighten out the mind. That's what Bernie Choctaw used to say. Tell them, straighten out the mind. You gave up. You threw in the towel. Now you're dealing with this, and you're going to have to stay in that box. Y'all done swam out there in the middle of the Atlantic. You done swam out there in the shark-infested waters. So when you come crawling back with missing a leg and a foot and everything, like you done stuck on a landmine, how are we supposed to feel when the next trendy thing comes up? You just abandon the fact that you are Indian and settle for the fact that you're a slave. 1 out of 1,000 or all 32? Or what's your whole bloodline like? Did your whole bloodline, was they all captured? What are they? You're gonna have to, where and when? What was legal? What was lawful at the time? In what place? I hope y'all got that shit and, got it all strategized, and you're not just blindly following the new black Jesus and his sidekick, whatever her name is, the new black Mary Magdalene, right? You call it what you want. I ain't being disrespectful. I'm really trying to break it down in the manner in which you understand. Don't abandon your grandma for no imagery of what looks like getting some recognition. If you don't come with the truth, you're going to get the door slammed in your face. And then guess what? The Indian don't got to let you back in the house. We don't got to let you back in. It's got to be accountability. Survival of the fittest. If you fall off the whip, stay there and build on your own. You're going to have to work your way back and prove that you can be trusted and why you should be trusted in your dealings. Gonna have a hard way to go. It's definitely going to be a part 2 to this. Got a couple things I got to do. But I love y'all Indians. Hope y'all others get it together. And, if you don't, that's okay too, because the Indian going to be fine. We already home. You know what I'm talking about? Peace a lot, chique.